Sir, how's the first 4 days of this ramp-up period been for you?
It's been good.
Football team.
It's been good. It's just been super hot here. That's about the only thing that's beating us up right now. So, but it's been very good. Very good to get with the guys, compete a little bit. No more of that OTA, tag off stuff. So a lot of competition going on.
It seems like you and Kirk have developed a little bit of chemistry right away. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, our lockers are right next to each other. I mean, we talk in the off season when we're away from each other as well, and I mean, just creating a relationship, and it's just like with anybody else, just talking, just doing a lot of talking, and just creating that relationship. So
I think you're the most experienced wide receiver as far as playing time here.
Mm-hmm.
Being so young, have the coaches come to you and say they want you to be more vocal, or have you told yourself like, hey, let me go ahead and be more vocal, and how have you adjusted to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking all the time. I'm giving some advice to the guys. They always come up to me and call on my phone and whatnot. But yeah, when they call me like OG, I stop that immediately. So I'm not old at all. So, but other than that, yeah, I'm definitely being vocal. Not more vocal than I've ever been, but just being me. And if anybody got questions, I'm willing to answer. So
the more you've hung out with Drake, what kind of stands out to you about him off the field?
I mean, he's chill. He's just like me off the field. I mean, we like to stay in the house, chill, play video games, and just vibe. Listen to music, and then when we're here, same thing. Just go and compete. So he's kind of like me. Like I said, do some of those similar things.
On the field, what traits, I guess, have you seen from him here that maybe watching him from afar the last few years, like, okay, like, wow, he's got that to him? He has that aggression. Like, I never knew that. I thought he was just, no disrespect to the Cali people, but just like a Cali kid, but he has that aggressive to him for sure, and I love it. Sometimes they try to calm him down a little bit, but I love it, So
with a lot of offensive weapons, what do you think you can add to this offense coming in as a free agent?
I mean, I'm just gonna be me, It's a lot of highlights that I've already done, and I'm trying to continue to get back to what everybody see, and just be me. Obviously, I want to dominate, and I didn't come here not to dominate, so I'm sure I'll have a fun season.
What do some of those conversations between you and Kirk look like with a quarterback as experienced as he is? Is he kind of sharing his preferences with how you're breaking off your route, how you're coming back, the depth, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, he lets me be me. He lets me have that freedom, but he also give me some things that he's done with other players. And I mean, Kirk is Kirk. I mean, he's had all these guys, that are great receivers. He had Diggs, Adam Thielen, Jets, Deshaun Jackson, Pierre. But out of all those guys, Kirk has been the main guy. So Kirk is the guy. He's the reason why everybody's flowing. So kudos to everybody, doing their thing, getting the shine. But Kirk is the guy for sure. That's making everything happen.
I don't know if there are trade secrets or anything like that, but does Kirk share any of the wisdom that he learned from any of the receivers that you just listed? I mean, those are some of the best to play in the last decade.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he definitely gives me some insight, and then some of the things he talk about from other people, they bring it to me and say that they had those conversations. But like yesterday, he told me about him and Steve Smith having a conversation, and then we relayed it to today on some of the routes. So he's always giving me some insight, whether it's here or when we're away from each other. So I'm definitely grateful to have him for sure.
Is it more of an advantage for you to come into a new team when everybody else is learning this new offense, rather than you're trying to catch up to everyone else?
I mean, I've been in this offense a little bit throughout my career, so I mean, I've been kind of knowing it very well. It's just the terminology part of it. People change word. I mean, have the same word, but it just means a little different. And the bad thing about, focusing on and knowing the offense very, very well, you tend to bring some of the old stuff that you already learned to here or a new offense, and you just got to change your way of thinking of what their terminology is. So I think I kind of got the upper hand of it all. So
to that point, Rye even said yesterday when we were talking to him that he felt like the retention was there from where y'all left off in June.
Oh, yeah.
Coming back. What kind of do you think y'all did as a collective unit, maybe even from OTAs to now, to kind of make sure there wasn't this step missing where you're having to catch up at all?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys, I can speak for my room, that nobody wanted to mess up, and everybody just honed in on the details. And I give the coaching staff, all the credit for, like, when we got back that we just hit it, see where we were at, and we kind of like did really good. Usually, like, you start back on install 1, and we definitely are not on install 1 at all. We're back like where we left off. We're running some of the deeper installs that we put in late, and I mean, it feels good to do it that way than just starting over all of the basic plays.
That was something that Kirk talked about the very first day. It kind of looked like y'all were just doing walkthroughs that very first day, but he was like, there was a lot more than meets the eye that first day.
Yeah.
How much, kind of when you think back to previous camps that you've had, or even going back to college, like those first early days of camp, where does that compare in terms of how much y'all were actively doing in terms of mental reps?
I feel like we're far-fetched ahead. I mean, I think that some guys, when you're going to, like, back to training camp, the coaches are testing you to be like, dude, does he know the playbook? Was he looking at it in the off season? But with these guys, they're giving you, like, the confidence that, like, hey, we might mess up, but hey, we're gonna throw it all at you guys, and if you mess up, we'll fix it. But if you don't, hey, we see where we're at, and don't really have a lot of mistakes. So I mean, like I said, I give all the credit to the coaching staff for that, for sure.
How much does Kirk have a role in that? Because I mean, yesterday it was almost like every single pass was a completion.
Yeah.
The day before, I mean, there's just like this level of accuracy that he has as a quarterback. How much does that also help things just keep moving in the right direction?
It helps him a lot with them, being out for a while in the season, and I don't think he's too excited about the preseason game. So he's getting that, those reps in, and he's going to put the ball in the right place every time. So he's not picking out one guy to throw it to. He's deciding and reading the coverage and throwing it to the right spot. So like I said, it's helping him a lot with getting the reps in early on.
During OTAs, Coach Morris said that team chemistry isn't really built until team camp. So how have you said during training camp, how have you seen that start to progress?
With like I said, I can only speak for my room. I mean, we have group messages. We get together and have our own walkthroughs, and with the dorms that we're living in, we're basically like we're in college again. So when you're in college, you have a brother that you're living with. So every day, every night. So it's been nice. And I think that's the way you build it. And then on defense, the defensive players talk to me a lot and ask me some advice, and I'm always willing to help. So
Is that
First pattern practice.
I think Wednesday.
when you say you talk to the offensive players? Is that something this coaching staff encourages, given their kind of experience on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, they don't really talk about things. They just let the locker room be the locker room, and it's a lot of games, and we got a new locker room, so it's a lot of things you can talk about. Like, we were all in the locker room watching rugby. I don't know what we were doing. It's the Olympic rugby and table tennis. Like, it was crazy. So, and then we were all in there watching the swimming contest. So we're doing a lot of things together that don't think you can do, and then eventually it's brings out that chemistry. So
Appreciate y'all.
appreciate y'all, man.
Thanks, man.
How are you?
Living the dream.
So Drew, what's the first ramp up, first period been like for you guys and come back as a unit and try to get things going and learn a new attack and so forth?
Yeah, it's been great. I think during OTAs we built a strong foundation, with our base defense, and really just putting in how we want to be, what kind of defense we want to be known as this year, and how we want to attack offenses, how we want to dictate, what offenses have to do. And I think this first week we've installed a lot faster. We pretty much put in everything we put in OTAs, we've installed already this first week. And now it's just time on task. And I think this week has been super productive, and just a good week, a good foundation.
How are you, where are you at with the calls and so forth and communicating with Kurt? I know that you got a new person now and you got, a bond and get on the same page with him. How's that been?
Yeah. You're talking with the other backers?
Yeah, like, you got to, identify all that.
Yeah.
Good center stuff there.
This is Nate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're all good.
I'm bad. I'm bad.
Nate, can you kind of talk us a little bit through the process of who is calling the defense from time to time? And sometimes I feel like it's you, sometimes it's Caden. How do y'all kind of work together, and where's the line in that?
Yeah. So as you guys have seen, we got a good rotation going. When Caden's in there with Troy, Caden's calling the defense, and then when I'm in there with either of them, then I'm calling the defense as the Mike. It's pretty much just who's set up as Mike in whatever defense we're running. But it's a good problem to have, like you guys have seen. And hopefully there's a way to get all of us on the field. But right now it's good rotation, and that's how it's handling who's calling the defense.
That makes sense. I'm curious too, you say hopefully can get everybody on the field. I know that's something I was kind of hoping to see a little bit of too, all three of you guys. Is that almost something that excites the three of you in terms of like, there is this level of creativity that can be infused because of the nature of how much experience you guys have and how your skill sets, I think, complement each other?
For sure. Yeah, we talk about it all the time. I mean, if you look at each of us individually and then us together, it's pretty special the kind of packages you can put in. You can put Caden on the edge, you can put Troy on the edge, you can put me on the edge. All three of us can play inside. So a lot of cool things that hopefully the future will hold for all of us, and anything we can do to help this team win and be the best defense we can be.
Mooney said earlier a group of guys have been watching the Olympics together. I was just curious, have you been in on that, or what have you been doing with some of the guys that kind of start to build that chemistry?
Yeah, well, the new locker room helps. It's set up for all of us to hang out. We were watching the rugby sevens the other day, and I'm a Booker fan of the Springboks of South Africa, and they took the bronze, so that was cool. We were watching that.
Is it competitive in there? Are you guys like cheering, or what's it look like?
No, it's pretty low key. It's pretty tame. Yeah.
As a linebacker, I just want to ask you, you said rugby. Could you see yourself playing rugby? Would you be interested in playing that?
Yeah, so I actually did play in high school. I grew up I was born in Zimbabwe. I grew up here. My dad actually played for the Zimbabwean national team rugby, so we grew up rugby fans, and I did play in high school.
What position?
I was a lock. Yep.
You mentioned the rotation at linebacker, and obviously there's kind of a lot of different spots where there's been a lot of personnel used. Do you see that as being kind of an approach by Coach Lake to kind of purposely use a lot of different types of players in certain situations to just generally help the defense?
For sure, and the rotation keeps everybody fresh, keeps the offense on their toes. One guy might be a more downhill attack guy, and the offensive line has to adjust to that. One guy might be more finessey, so it's a good change-up, just like how offense use two different running backs, as a speed back and a power back. And I think just being multiple and having strong depth is important for any team. And I think just the more we can rotate, the more experience that all of us can get is only beneficial down the line.
When you had a lot of heavier fronts, it would seem, I want to say I've seen that SLB role used more often so far. What do you feel like that maybe provides?
I think it like a good change-up. We can, instead of having us react, and that's, what people think is the defense is the offense comes out there and then we have to react to them. We're allowed now to stem down to those fronts and change their calls, and they have to react to what we're doing. Just makes us multiple and gives the quarterback and the center something more to think about. More mistakes happen and things we can capitalize on.
Any more questions for Nate? Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Nate.
What is it about your skill set that you feel like allows you to play?
Yeah, I think, I'm probably like a plus size outside linebacker, so I get some of that tweener stuff at times where I can be on the edge and do my stuff out there, also kind of condense down if need be.
What was your free agency process like, and why was Atlanta right for you?
It was stressful. It's a very stressful time. But I had dinner with Coach Raw and Coach Lake, and they just kind of showed me the vision, and the energy that he has is infectious. He's an awesome coach to be around. So it was a no-brainer.
Where'd you all eat at?
Somewhere in Buckhead. Honestly, I'm new to the area.
What'd you get?
I had like steak and lobster, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. It was a cool deal. I didn't have to pay. They were forgiving.
In that conversation, how much of their vision for you was already fleshed out as they're trying to show you, hey, here's what we're doing here? Yeah, I mean, I think they worked together a bunch before. They honestly had a pretty clear and concise plan, and what they told me is kind of what manifested. And, like you said, that versatility of sliding here, sliding there, and that's what's been happening so far in practice.
How you looking in Atlanta so far?
It's great. I'm from North Carolina, so it's close to home.
How much do you, what's your expectation, I guess, for yourself during this camp and getting into week one? Yeah, I mean, I think for camp is to continue to grow as a player. Get comfortable with what they're asking me to do. I'm coming from a 4-3 to a 3-4 is a little bit different. And then, for players, it's to help us win games.
How's the game plan under Raheem Morris?
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, you can't talk about a more charismatic, positive man, just infectious with his personality, the energy, the positivity, the love he talks with. I mean, that's something that I think, if every coach had, we'd be so blessed as players.
When you talk about the transition 4-3 to a 3-4, can you talk a little bit more about just like on a play-to-play basis how that looks different for you and your role? Yeah, I think, I have more responsibilities, right? I could be rushing, I could be dropping. There's kind of different fit stuff there. 4-3, very hand in the dirt. I have my one key. I'm rolling off the ball. I'm attacking the edge. You get your pre-snap keys, but it's not as in detail if I'm dropping. Okay, I've got a motion. How do I adjust? How are we adjusting on the back end? I'm tied in the coverage, so it's a lot more moving parts. It kind of sounds like you like those moving parts, though. The way you just described that, you got a little more. Yeah, I feel like no, I mean, it's been a great defense to play in, honestly, and it's going to be really exciting to play in this year.
The pads are coming on soon. I know that's important for the trenches. Are you looking forward to that? And they're playing some, real football as opposed to, a little tag. Yeah, the physicality. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why, the defensive line here, offensive line's here, and this is a great offensive line. So I'm excited to go out and play against these guys, coming out the rest of camp. Can you feel a difference from the offensive line in this camp, given that they spent the entire season last year together as a cohesive unit? I can't speak to that because I've only been playing against them for, OTAs and so far in camp there. Feel more in sync, I guess, as a group, maybe compared to some other lines that you've experienced in years past. Yeah. One guy is new or something like that. Right. I mean, they're extremely talented, and they're pretty much all on the same page, so it's always a great challenge going against them.
You and Zach Harrison are splitting reps, it would seem, right now. How are you kind of approaching that and the last few months kind of learning more about Zach and watching him play? What kind of stands out to you about him?
Zach's a great player, more of an interior defensive lineman. He's amazing, a young guy, and, he's so big and powerful. Honestly, all those guys on the inside are impressive, and they all bring something different. So it's always fun to rush with those guys. They all have different skill sets, so you get to kind of learn each other and know, okay, I know what Grady's going to do. I know what Dio's going to do. I know what Zach's going to do, and, how can I help them work with that and work off of them?
What can you learn from Lorenzo Carter, who plays a similar position as you, and you can teach him and learn from him? Yeah,
Zoe's awesome. He's a vet, so it's always fun to kind of sit down at the practice and watch some films together and say, okay, hand placement here, what are you kind of thinking with this motion? Okay, on this drop, this set, what are you looking at? So it was always fun to kind of bounce things back and forth.
We saw Caden Ellis kind of put his hand in the dirt a little bit yesterday at the high school. Has he worked in your room at all during camp?
He has not.
All good?
James, were you the first #1 jersey at NC State?
I was the second.
Who was the first?
Steph Lewis, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, I would say.
Your last year, you were the second #1. Did you only wear it 1 year or 2?
I wore it 1 year.
Last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hey, River, how you doing?
How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. How's everything been going this ramp-up period, just to your new team and new offense there?
Everything's been good, you know. It's a blessing to be here. Just having fun with my new teammates, you know, some old teammates, Charlie, Dwelly, some not former teammates, but played at the same college, Grady, AJ Terrell. Actually, me and AJ played together, and that's championship. And so it was an easy transition for me. Felt comfortable. Felt like I was home already. Clemson's up the road, so I mean, I got family up the road as well. So it just felt like home. It was an easy transition for me.
Reuniting with Coach Hilliard, was that also?
Yes, sir, from Pittsburgh. Yes, sir.
He talked about you like, hey, we have really good relationships. That good, knowing that you and your coach have a bond already.
It's always good to have a bond with your coach, but he's not just a coach. I feel like he's more of a mentor off the field. You know, he keeps my head where it needs to be at, my spirit where it needs to be at. Make sure I'm being a good dad at home, and just a good man in general. You know, and that's kind of what I think us as a male figure need. Footballs can always end any given day, you know, but having someone that's there for you, just no matter if you're playing football or not, is a blessing.
Have you watched any of Ike's old film?
Of course, he talk about it every day. Talk about it every day.
He brags about it every day.
He said, you know what? He said, we're gonna do a high school day. I played running back too, and he said we're gonna bring our running back film. I played running back my whole life, so we always argue about who's better. But you know, Louisiana is not Florida. I always tell him that. So, but he was a dog though.
When you watch it.
Physical, he's fearless. He went to Florida, so I grew up a Florida State fan. But he had every tool you can ask for, just with the ball in his hand. Quickness, strength, just physicality came with.
How is it playing with a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, who's been a veteran in the league, and what can you learn from him?
You learn something every day with a quarterback like that, you know. Coming from Pittsburgh, where I was with Ike, I had been, and it was similar. You know, just every day is something you can sponge from. You know, just everything he talks about is just he coaches as well. You know, the coach is not just this way or no way. He puts in his input in certain things. He's out there playing. So when you on cue with him, I think it's gonna be fun.
Brady, you talk about transitioning from San Francisco to here. We talked a lot about Kirk and the scheme being similar for him, coming from kind of that coaching tree. For you, is it been pretty seamless to pick up this offense coming from San Francisco?
Definitely. San Fran was definitely I think a high-level offense. And I think people can tell the details that Kyle puts into his offense. But I feel it's the same energy here, you know, and we're just putting the pieces together now and just building a camaraderie as a team. And I think that's what offense, you have to be one, you know, and that's what good offenses have. I mean, that's what good offenses have, but to be great, you have to have that camaraderie, that chemistry. And we out here every day working together to be good. We're great every day.
You mentioned you were a running back.
I played running back my whole life, but I was talking about me and Ike were arguing in high school. Yeah.
Is that where the 34 comes from? Is that a running back number? Is that?
Yeah, my whole family wore 34.
Okay.
I wore that since I was a little kid. Only sport I didn't wear it in was basketball. I wore 3, but everything else, baseball, I wore 34.
Is it weird being the second most tenured wide receiver in the room?
Nah, because I feel young, for real, man. You know, my first 2 years, I didn't play as much as I thought I should have. And then when going to Pittsburgh, I feel like that was really my start, you know. I feel like I redshirted when I was coming in. But I feel fresh, man. I feel young. Every year is a new year. Especially when you have a new team, everything just feels new and fresh. But especially like a team like this that's just fun, young, and we have fun. Our coach is young and fun. Every day is just a high-energy day, and it makes you love the game and have fun doing it.
Are you able to speak to as far as how you prepare for training camp or tell them the do's and don'ts?
Of course. Yeah, things that I think I could have done better when I was young, or I did that I thought was good for me at the time, and vets gave me a note, just things you can do better at, but also at the same time, like I tell them to be you. You know, never use somebody else's blueprint because you're yourself. You can take a few things from it, but always be yourself. You know what I'm saying? So.
We've heard a lot of guys, whether it be coaches or players, talk about how the first day coming in, that there was a lot on y'all's plate in terms of what y'all were being asked to do. I'm curious how the work y'all did in OTAs and maybe even individual work that you did over the summer, do you think prepared you guys as a unit to come in the first 4 days of this block and really hit the ground running in terms of the install and picking up where you left off?
I think, to be honest, this in the years he said I've been playing, the second oldest, this is probably one of like the coming to a camp with the most on the plate, but like it was easy. It wasn't like I feel like we did so much OTAs and we worked so hard to get ahead. I feel like it puts us in a good position to come into training camp, hitting the ground running.
Spoke to Darnell Mooney earlier, and he was like they call him OG. Do they call you OG from time to time?
They ain't never called me that. I don't know why he called him that. He said the same thing. He don't know why he called him that either. But yeah, I don't want to be called that.
On that topic of kind of being prepared for camp, who do you put that down to? Or maybe not as one person, but what do you put it down to of the players in general being so ready to go and being able to have absorbed all this information?
When you say put it down to, you mean like who's responsible?
Yeah. Because I know like Kirk, like
I would say it's a handful of people. I would start from the top with Coach Raw, then Z-Rob, and then Kirk. And obviously our receivers coach being on point with Z-Rob, that's where that we put them in that place, in that arena. But everybody just being on point, you know. I feel like we got a young room, but like an old spirit. Like we always professional about everything we do. Our meetings are very laid back, but work, you know. And so I think that's the biggest thing I see the most, you know.
Right. You kind of mentioned not playing early on, and then last year I want to say you were more in that return role. When I spoke with Ike about you a few months ago, he mentioned that you have this chance to really prove yourself at wideout. What more is there within your skill set that you feel like you can show here?
Explosiveness, playmaking ability. I mean, people see flashes of it when I was at San Fran. But time will tell.
Has your approach changed since you come to camp now?
My approach?
Yeah, coming into camp, to a training camp. So now, like they say, you have this chance to show what you can do and be able to ascend? Or is it the same?
No, I feel like I go into every camp with the same chip on my shoulder, you know, with something to prove. And the opportunity presents itself, and then that's when I be myself, you know. And the world will see when it's time. But for now, I mean, I just stay locked in day by day and just keep building the house that we're trying to build brick by brick.
And then I know you're very passionate about your fashion. Have you rubbed that off on the other players, or have you been judging players the way they dress?
I'm not gonna give them names, but a few of them, you know, yeah, of course, you know, but sauce ain't free, you know. No, I'm playing, but no, I'm not just playing. But yeah, man, I guess it's just me, man. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Are you the type?
Was in here earlier, and he mentioned that prior to signing Raheem, and I want to say Lake brought him out, he had this really luxurious meal that he had, like steak and lobster.
I heard what you said. I didn't hear the name.
James Smith-Williams. What was your sweetener prior to signing? Was there a sweetener?
Being back on the East.
Okay.
Back in the heat, you know, I was in San Fran too, but I'm like from Florida, so the heat is different from Florida and like North Cali. So just being there, being close to home. My brother goes to Clemson now. I got a brother at Texas State, so my mom, easy for my parents to come to games. They didn't come to too many games in San Fran because like I said, I got a brother at Clemson, my little sister is across the world, so easier for them, my family to be around.
All right, we all good?
Thank you.
God bless y'all. Thank y'all. Yes, sir.
What's up?
How you doing, Drew?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Hey, what's been some of the,
Hold on one second.
pardon me?
Hold on one second.
Okay, all right, sorry.
What went out there, Hunter?
Yeah, it was nice to cool down for a little bit. It was good.
All right, Eli, go ahead.
We're good. Yeah, Drew, how have things been up front for you and the offensive line? Y'all learning a new operation here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been going well. Obviously, early training camp, make a bunch of mistakes, and you learn rapidly because of those mistakes, which is good. But yeah, it's been great. I feel like we've been pushing ourselves on our effort, communication, things we need to fine tune with some of the new things that we're learning, and all that. So it's been a good process so far.
And how's the relationship developing with the quarterback and you, and getting everything situated and moving? You all are together, that.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I feel really fortunate to get to work with Kirk. He has so much expertise and so much knowledge that I feel like I get to learn so much from him and like all his experience. So that's been great. And then he's great on integrating and getting to know the O-line and all that. So we've had some fun kind of out of the building activities with that, which has been nice. And then on the field, he's excellent. Communicating, seeing looks, all that. So it's been a good experience.
How have you seen Burge grow on your left side there from where he came into camp this time last year to where he is now, and what are your kind of expectations for him coming into the season?
Yeah, Burge is awesome. Great guy, great player, and he's doing awesome so far. I think in my opinion, I think he played incredible, especially stepping in as a rookie. That's incredibly difficult. So that's been going well, and obviously he'd had a great offseason, came back in shape, came back looking great. So that's been good so far. I love playing next to Burge, and I feel like as far as expectations for the year, that's not really for me to say. I feel like we focus more on unit goals, and so like as a unit, we want to have an excellent season, meet all of our team needs, like what the team's going to ask of us, and then push ourselves to be the best unit we can be. So.
Year 4 for you with Ledford, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's he like in that room with you all?
He's awesome. Yeah, a lot of superlatives today. You guys are giving me good people to talk about. But Led's great. He brings great energy. Same energy from the first day we walk in the building to, a week 17 Wednesday morning meeting. Like he brings it all the time, which is great. And also has a ton of knowledge. So I feel so fortunate to get to work with Led, and it's a pleasure to be in the meeting room with him every day. So.
When you think about Led, what stories kind of come to your mind off the top?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I want to air out all that kind of stuff, but just a guy that like he always talks about just like playing with speed off the ball, and then that is like kind of a life philosophy as well. So I feel like that leads him down some interesting paths. But yeah, he's great, and definitely brings some good humor to the room. So.
I apologize if you answered this, but dealing with the different cadence with Kirk and even Michael, how long does that normally take, genuinely take?
Yeah, I don't know if I have enough experience to say like generally, but I think there's definitely some growing with it as we were used to one way, and you pattern it 10,000 times throughout like the course of a couple of years. And then now we're kind of breaking some of those habits and reforming ones. So I think it takes a little bit, but I think we're improving. Like I think if you looked at the total number of issues, it's probably declining, especially since OTAs. So yeah, it's something we really focus on, and we're holding ourselves accountable to.
Is that more just on the field where you all get adjusted to that, or is it like off the field where you all talk about it or watching the film?
Yeah, I think both. Kirk had a good meeting with us the other day where he talked about the cadences that he's going to go through and the expectations and some of the scenarios where those become really important. So that's been something, yeah, as you mentioned, in the meeting room, on the field, like in the locker room amongst ourselves, if we have questions, that kind of thing.
What have you guys done outside the building with Kirk?
A couple dinners. Went to Led had us over at his house. Did like kind of an outdoor barbecue thing. That was fun. All hung out. So finding time to just kind of like outside the football context, get to know each other and that whole deal.
Are you guys doing like the chain restaurant tour that he's been talking about?
I'm not familiar with that. I think there was I had to miss this one, but I think they went to Texas Roadhouse.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, so.
OTA is like
yeah.
Red Lobster, I think.
Yeah. Sad news about the bankruptcy. Yeah. Yeah. I'd love. That would be a great kind of tour for us to take down throughout the year. So.
Has he put on a heavyweights showing yet? I know that was kind of high on his list as well.
Yeah, that's him, and you should ask Jake Matthews about that as well. He quotes that movie like probably every day at least at one point. But I haven't seen it yet, so I got to work on it. Yeah.
Any more questions for Drew? Cool. All right, thank you.
Sweet. Thank you guys.
Thank you.